Hi, in this course we'll be exploring XAML controls, how to use them and the variety of controls that are available. I already have my copy of Visual Studio 2012 open and I've created a new blank XAML project using C#. I've also specifically opened the main page.xaml file, and so we can look at the XAML code and make changes, and I can show you around the XAML controls. The blank page that you're given when you open this project template just has a grid. We'll talk more about the grid later on in the course, but first of all we'll just talk about a very basic control. That's the text block control. This is very similar to the control that's used in Windows Forms and Web Forms. We're actually going to edit directly in XAML. This is the XML declarative language that's in the bottom of your screen. You'll also see that I have XAML at the bottom and I have a preview at the top. The preview is live and will update as I type in the XAML at the bottom. XAML of course stands for Extensible Application Markup Language. I'll go ahead and I'll create a text block control. A text block control is very similar to a Windows Forms or a Web Forms label control. As I type, you see that IntelliSense actually gives me information in this editor, so I can see the options that are available and I can pick one that suits me. So I want the text block, and I'm also going to set a text attribute here. So we'll go for the classic hello world. And I need to close off this element. This is actually XML with specific schemas that can be used for building the interface. Now you'll notice that the phrase hello world has actually appeared on our screen, but it's incredibly small, so we want to actually make it more readable. So let's increase the font size. So let's set a font size of, let's say, 70. That really brings it up to a reasonable size. Now there are other properties we can set on the control as well. For example, we can set the foreground color. You'll notice again I have an IntelliSense list of possible choices. While I have an indeterminate choice, the designer, the preview and the designer surfaces are not showing me anything because it doesn't know what I'm trying to choose. So if I pick red, we'll go and press tab to complete what I'm doing, I now see hello world in red. So you can see I'm quite quickly building up an interface here, an extremely simple one, just by typing in what I want to see. So let's look at what's actually happening here. Obviously, as I'm typing, something is happening behind the scenes that is updating the designer. In fact, if I go ahead and compile and build the application, let's go ahead and click on the Start with Debugging option. You'll see the application build is deployed onto my local machine, and there's the application running. Clearly it doesn't do very much, but it shows you that the live preview is showing you what happens when you run the application. So I'll stop my application now. So let's look at what's actually happening. If I go to the mainpage.xaml.cs page or file, you'll see that there's a class declared called main page. If we go back to our XAML file and look at the top of the file, you'll see that our class is also main page. So what's actually happening is when the main page constructor is being called, we're actually calling initialize component. An initialize component takes the XML or the XAML in the XAML format and creates an object structure that goes inside and becomes part of the class.